Welcome back to the freemilesmc. I am today here with my Royal Enfield Interceptor, and after my big motorcycle trip and living with this motorcycle for quite some time, I wanted to tell you guys about 5 things that I love about my Royal Enfield Interceptor. So number 5, we have that this bike feels very authentically old. As a modern classic, this is, I think, the closest a modern bike can get to feeling like an old motorcycle. One of the first things that comes to mind there is that you actually sit on top of the bike more than in the bike, how it often feels with more modern bikes. And from the feeling of how this bike rides and how all the contact points, like the handlebars feel so thin, like on a proper old bike. It just really well transports this feeling of how it is to ride an actual old motorcycle with the luxuries of it not being an old motorcycle. I think Royal Enfield nailed that especially well. So Royal Enfield managed to really well transport this old feeling that fits the looks of this bike, from how it sounds, from how it rides, especially how it sounds. This bike really sounds for Euro 5 norm very good and very authentic, like an old motorcycle. The number 4 that makes me really happy about this motorcycle is this bike makes other people happy and strikes conversation. Wherever you go with this motorcycle, usually all motorcycles kind of do that people like walk up to you and ask you about your bike, but this one does especially, and especially for older people, and they all are so happy when like talking to you about this motorcycle. And a lot of people mistake this for like an actual authentic old bike and really like overestimate the value of it and what kind of bike it is. And everyone always just has a good time looking at it and talking to you about this motorcycle. Also other motorcyclists, because there are also many people that don't recognize this instantly as a Royal Enfield Interceptor and instantly know what it's about. So it's for many people really interesting talking to you and discovering what this bike actually is. So if you ride this bike, you will make a lot of senior citizens happy by talking to them, and everyone will have a good time, which I think is just beautiful in its own right. On number 3, this bike has an amazing price-utility ratio. I paid on the used market $4,000 for this motorcycle, and a new one would have went at the time for around 5,800 all the way to 7,000 something. Right now the bikes have gotten more expensive at the dealership, so I kind of was in at the right point, but still, for the amount of money you spend on the bike, you get amazing stuff out of this motorcycle. Like the fit and finish of this motorcycle from all its little parts is just incredible. Royal Enfield put in a lot of effort into that, into stuff like the Royal Enfield logo on the foot pegs, all the little different details, and the way that everything is designed really with visual in mind. Like all the little visual details where Royal Enfield put in a lot of thought into and really tried to make the fit and finish of this bike as best as possible. And also the riding experience of this bike is just amazing. It feels amazing when riding on the street. It feels kind of like the perfect bike for riding on the street, actually, with the amount of power it has. It has 48 horsepower, but with those 48 horsepower it has quite a lot of torque, and combined with how the gears are and how it sounds, it is just an amazing package. And you can tell that they test rode this bike a lot, because it really rides for a bike at this price point very amazing, and it's just an incredible, satisfying sensation to experience this motorcycle, especially that is possible at this price point. Place number 2 on the list of things that I really love about this bike is just the design of it. This bike looks so beautiful with all its different color options, with how the chrome looks, with the different styling features like the mirrors, how the handlebars look, how the instruments look on the bike. Just everywhere where you can look at the bike, it just looks beautiful. There are very little points that you can critique about this bike visually, and the points you can critique are more a preference than something that you could actually make a negative point on. So the design of this motorcycle, also at the price point, is just really incredible, and it's a beautiful motorcycle to look at. When getting it out of the garage, I was again like amazed by how cool this bike looks, and it's just a great bike visually. So let's get to number 1, the thing I love most about my Royal Enfield Interceptor. And for many viewers of the channel that maybe is already quite obvious. I just did a motorcycle surf trip with this motorcycle, and you can put a surfboard onto this motorcycle. And that is so cool. Like, You can probably kind of fit a surfboard onto all kind of motorcycles, but it would be a lot of work getting the customizations exactly right. And with this one, it's really easy to just buy a kit for that and then just carry a surfboard with the motorcycle, and that is such a great experience. I just did a huge trip through Europe like that, and I have to say I'm very happy that that is possible on this motorcycle. It just enriches the usability so much for me, and I personally just really love that. And recently, where I live close to me, a river standing wave has opened up, so I now can take my surfboard also here locally to that river wave with this motorcycle, which is just incredibly cool. So those were the 5 things that I really love about my Royal Enfield Interceptor. I will soon also make an episode on 5 things that I don't like about this bike, which is for any people who are interested in this bike probably also quite interesting. If you like what I do here on YouTube, feel free to subscribe and give me a like, and maybe leave a comment about what you like about the Royal Enfield Interceptor. See you soon.